value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket.
Hey guys, it's Nick Sainer. Join 93.7 The Ticket this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from Pinnacle Bank Arena for the NSAA Girls State Basketball Tournament. Starting Wednesday at 9 a.m., we'll be at PBA bringing you play-by-play coverage of every single game. That's right. All 24 games played at Pinnacle Bank Arena this week will be heard right here on 93.7 The Ticket. From Class A to Class D2 action, 93.7 The Ticket is your home for the 2025 Girls State Basketball Tournament, and it all starts this Wednesday at 9 a.m. We'll see you there.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. Strap up your headgear and try not to hit the mat too hard. This is Takedown Tuesday with Nebraska wrestling head coach Mark Manning.
Facts don't lie. Wrestling is a pretty big deal in the Big Ten, so it's a pretty big deal to us.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Powered by Stevens & Smith Construction. Here is your host, Mark Manning.
Welcome in to Takedown Tuesdays on The Ticket. I'm Austin Norman. No Coach Manning, one of his lieutenants, Coach Bryan Snyder, in with us on Takedown Tuesday, sponsored by Stevens & Smith Construction. They're an employee-owned company with nearly 250 employees with over 2,000 years of service combined. They lead the industry, specializing in residential and commercial foundations and flat work. They've got locations in Lincoln, Omaha, and Kansas City. You can check them out at stevensandsmith.com. Coach Bryan Snyder, how you doing, man?
Doing well. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. We are in March. That means postseason for so many college sports, including wrestling. But first, you had to make it through February. Shortest month, sometimes drags on. Was that the case with wrestling? Did February go quick? Did it drag on for you guys?
You know, the season always goes quick. It's like it's November, and next thing you know, it's March. February was a big month for us. We had some crucial duels, and then. It's just that time. It's winter, it's cold, and you're wrestling every weekend. So, but we came through better. We came through unscathed in terms of any injuries, right?
Good,
and which is great. I know Coach Manning's message post Iowa was, hey, good good effort. We didn't get what we want, but you know what? Our best part of our year is to come. We're healthy, we're hungry. And so that's been a huge blessing for us, is to stay healthy throughout the grind of the Big Ten. We also saw our team grow a lot. I think we competed really well at Iowa, but you had a bunch of guys that we had to tell them, hey, get your chin up, because they were bummed. We had it right. We had the dual meet victory in so many different ways. We could have won it, but they were disappointed, and it's good. You want to see that, right? It means
healthy disappointment.
It's a healthy disappointment. It matters to them. It's not a disappointment where they sulk. It was disappointed. They want to get back to work. So yeah, I love where our guys are, and I speak for Coach Manning and the rest of the staff.
That's what you're here for. You're the mouthpiece today, Coach. So whatever you say is official. It is on the record. Let's dive into that Iowa City duel. Couple wrestlers pull upsets according to the national rankings in their seed. Let's start with Lenny Pinto. What do you remember about his win at Iowa?
Got shot out of a cannon, right? Lenny's up 7-0, then he's up 10-1, and then a little bit of relaxation on the edge of the mat, and lets the Iowa guy get back in the match. And then, a bit of a lull for 2 or 3 minutes, and then, the match is tied with less than 30 seconds, and I'll put Lenny up against anybody if that's the case. And he's exploded for, takedown and back points, which was great. I mean, huge moment. You got 14,000 people screaming against you, and he kept his poise. He stayed in the hand fight, and he got to his position, and he got through the Iowa guy. So that was a lot of fun.
What makes him so good in those last 30 seconds?
He's just so dang explosive. It's hard to stop him for one. And he's just very confident in a handful of positions. And it's not just one position, but a handful of positions he's really confident in. And he's a freak. He's strong. It's just there's no way to mince words about it. I mean, he's just very, in a few positions, he's very, very explosive. And he can get through anybody, the weight class above him, if he gets to his position. So that was good. That was a big win for Lenny. Just really proud of his growth throughout the match. We talk a lot to our guys about, different trajectories of growth. Like, you can get better in the off season. I see people get better during the course of the season, but we always challenge our guys like, hey, this is a story about a guy who got better during the course of a match, right? Like, he figured it out. He was in a moment that he was in before, and he didn't win it before. He didn't perform well in it before, but he figured it out. And that was Lenny in that moment. So yeah, the staff, we're really proud of Lenny.
When you say figure it out, how much of that is you guys on the coaching staff reminding him of what he needs to do, get back to being Lenny Pinto? And how much of that is just Lenny's experience of being in the ring and just, critically thinking about, this is what I have to do. This is how I get creative and win a match.
It's both. Really, we're the ones with the narrative. Hey, you're going to be there. You can do it. But really, it's him. It's him that knocks the door down. It's him that ultimately figures it out. Mm-hmm. We're there to be the guardians of the narrative and to push him and to let him know where his focus needs to be and how good he can be in those situations. But it's ultimately on Len, and that was a big turning point for Lenny. He won a big moment.
He absolutely did. Another guy that did that was Silas Allred. That's a guy who, wrestling at 184 as a junior. Again, according to the seed, it was an upset. What do you remember about how Silas was able to get his win in Carver Hawkeye?
Relentless. He stayed on Gabe Arnold's legs. Got close to finishing a couple, ran out of time on a few of those, but just kept his poise. Again, you're in overtime and you got 14,000 people screaming, and there was no backup. You took the step forward, and that's what we preach. Hey, when the fur is flying and it's tied, you can do one of two things. You can step back, hope the other guy makes a mistake, hope the ref gets involved, or you can take a step forward and go forward your own path. And Silas was really good. For as tight as that match was, we were really, just impressed with just how much he controlled it. Right. So in on a ton of leg attacks, and then, got the one in overtime.
You guys have a bunch of dudes on your team. We've talked to a bunch of them, but that's Iowa. On the other side, you guys know how much that means. How much of the preparation for a match like that, and I'm sure you'll see some Iowa guys again coming up here in Evanston, how much of the preparation for a match against those guys specifically is mental versus physical?
I mean, a lot, right? Obviously, we have people the week before Iowa and the week after Iowa, so we can't just train for Iowa, right, physically, right? Mm-hmm. But it's a date that we have circled on our calendar, and we want to feel good for that match. But then it's the huge part of it is just the mentality, right? It's winning that mindset again. And when you have a hostile territory, hostile crowd that's, heckling you from the stands and, saying whatever they want to say
and getting away with it,
which is always mind boggling to me. But that's bigger than mentality. That hits you at an emotional level. So you have to be able to control your nerves, right? So self-talk, make sure your body's right. And that moment helps propel us forward. It helps prepare us for the big moments, because Welsh Ryan Arena is going to be the same, right? You're going to be in a tight semifinal match against an Iowa guy, and half the crowd's going to be Iowa.
Right.
And same thing when we go to Philly. Half the crowd may be Penn State,
their home territory.
But it's just reps. It's meaningful reps when the stakes are high, and just learning how to figure those out, right? And the more times you can get in them, and the more times you can prepare, and learn to win them. And we're trending in the right direction.
We'd love to hear that. We're chatting with Bryan Snyder, assistant wrestling coach for Husker Wrestling. You had the lead on Iowa. You're up 7, going to the last 2 matches, and obviously you had other opportunities before. It's not on the last 2 guys that wrestled in Cam McDaniel and Harley Andrews. They get picked off, but since Iowa, how have you seen those 2 guys respond to what happened in Iowa City throughout the month of February, getting ready for Big Tens?
Really good bounce back. In speaking to Cam specifically, he's had he has a monster of a schedule. He's wrestled everybody.
As a young guy.
And as a young guy, as a true freshman. And, that was one of the, not many people can handle that. And that was one of the variables that we take into consideration when we have the conversation of, is Cam ready to go out of the gate, right? Can he handle, the depth of the competition through our schedule? And the answer is yes. So Cam has done a tremendous job of, keeping his composure, not getting his dauber down, going back to work. And then he got a couple matches where he could really get his offense on, going, and him and Silas coming off the break, they had monster months. And that was really tough. But again, all that stuff it hardens you, right? If you frame it the right way, if you realize that these are just small data points in an overall long season and you get better from them, right? Like I got my butt kicked. Okay, but let's talk about it, right? Like what happened here, right? Really, this was the score with 40 seconds to go, right? So, we love our guys up a ton. There's no pointing fingers. And so, for those guys, they had tough matches, but we seen them respond really well, put more points on the board. And I think ultimately that experience in Iowa will help to harden them and prepare them for the next 3 weeks of wrestling.
When you look at a guy like Cam, Christopher Minto, who's been in your lineup as well, maybe they're successful, maybe they're not. What are you as coaches looking for as data points that you can take back to them in those tough moments of, well, crap, this didn't go my way? What do you guys focus on as a coaching staff to take back to your wrestlers to give them when they're facing their adversity?
Stories of guys that have been there in the past. I mean, that's always a very familiar narrative, and it's comforting because to know that, like, hey, Coach Green was right where you're at. I mean, Coach Green, 4-time All-American, Big Ten champ. He lost his first 2 matches out of redshirt, right? And to guys that you wouldn't even remember, I could tell you their name. So, one is just kind of normalizing it a little bit, right?
Not get used to accepting losing, but
also saying,
like,
hey, there's been people that have been great that are right where you're at right now, right? And so the reason they were great is what they did next. So let's go back. Let's look at the film. What went wrong? Let's talk about your diet. Let's talk about your sleep. Let's talk about your weight cut. How was your nutrition day before? Training. So it's a very holistic. We check a lot of boxes every week on every guy, right? Is so-and-so doing this? Is so-and-so doing that? What do we need to do for them? That's where we're spending bulk of our minutes in the office, is just talking about our guys. What do they need? And then the other thing is like, hey, are you pushing the pace? Are you putting yourself in scoring opportunities, or are you letting the match come to you? Right? You need to go take the match to this guy, wrestle a pace that's aggressive, a lot of offense, and that's a program staple. Then you tinker with some stuff, right? It's like, hey, this finish didn't quite work, or hey, this leg defense didn't quite work, and you get in the room and you figure it out. And then the whole idea is, hey, you get another rep next weekend. Let's make it better. Fair
enough. Again, kind of wrestling noob question here, but when you think of football, you think of position coaches. Basketball, work with guards or posts or whatever, infield coach, outfield coach in baseball, whatever it might be. How is your coaching staff split up? Are you all responsible for every wrestler? Do you take different weights according to what you know better? How do you guys split up who's maybe, the point person for a wrestler?
We take a lot of things, and a lot of times we work. Well, we all work with everyone, but when we do when we do individual workouts, a lot of it is either you're pretty good at a thing that a guy needs to get good at. So, hey, you need to take this guy for a few weeks and get him better at this position, right? Okay. Or it's a weight class thing, like, hey, I'm going to work out with this guy, or I work out with this guy all the time. I know what he needs, so let me help him through the individual. So it could be stylistically, and hey, it could just be that you mesh, right? And so, one of the charges that Manning puts before us when we do individuals is like, hey, this is not just a technical hour and 15, hour and a half. This is also like, need to find out what makes them tick, right? Like talk to them about their match. Like, what were they thinking last time they stepped on the mat? Like, what do they need to hear before they go on the mat? What do they need to hear when they get off the mat? So it's back to our holistic, like, development and who's best for that, right? Some guys might be able to connect better with another guy at different points in the season, so that's what we do. Yeah.
That's awesome. Let's get back to the month of February, right? You come off Iowa senior day at home against Indiana. Talk to us about the seniors. What have those guys meant to you and to the program, the ones that you honored against the Hoosiers?
Well, great. You have guys like Lovett who, the face of the program and can change it in really positive ways. And guys like Caleb Smith who didn't have the experience he wanted at App State and wanted to change and come to Nebraska and to see him flourish. That's all great. And just for him to have faith in us, right? Because he gets one more shot at this, right?
Yeah.
So, and that was awesome. That means the world to us. And a guy like Bubba Wilson, whose career didn't end where he wanted it to end, Absolute warrior. Like, I love Bubba Wilson. He's been through so much. He's been so much the heart and soul of our program. He's a fighter. You know, I've
Literally
now. Now he's literally a fighter, right? But like, it doesn't surprise me at all. But you know, he battled. He did everything we asked him to do. He bought into the culture. He lived the culture. He helped reproduce the culture. And there's just a toughness about Bubba that emanates throughout the room, everyone around him. And then guys like Jake Licking and Tebow, just they made everyone around him better. And that's what you ask of guys in their role in the program. So those 5 guys have made, you know, left Nebraska wrestling in a better place than they found it. And, you know, grateful for them and all that, you know, it's a rough sport. And especially when you don't see, you know, especially a lot of credit goes to the guys that don't actually get to wrestle under the spotlight, right? Because it's grueling, right? Like we work out hard. We have to cut weight. We lift weights. You know, we live a different life than the general population.
Yeah.
And so for those guys to do it and never have the accolades or never have the articles written about them, those guys take a lot from the sport, and I commend them a lot. But usually it's those guys that take all the intangibles from the sport and take it with them, and they end up being successful in life after wrestling.
When you look at the matches against Indiana, against Purdue, you guys were the higher ranked team, higher ranked unit going into both of those. On the flip side, from the way you started the month against a program like Iowa, how does the message change from when you guys are maybe an underdog going on the road to their home arena to being a favorite? Does the message change at all?
The message doesn't change, because our message is it doesn't matter who we wrestle, it's how we wrestle.
Love it.
Right. And, you know, when you look at Indiana, they're a sneaky good team. They're very balanced. And so there could be, you could find yourself, if you have a team, you know, coming off of Iowa, a little bit of a hangover. We've all seen it happen in other sports where you're not ready. You could be in a dogfight with Indiana. But our guys responded, right? Like, you know, we won the ranked matchups. Harley fought really, really tough against, you know, a guy that he had close match with before. So we felt really good about our performances in those two, you know, Indiana and Purdue. You know, guys like Antrell wasn't at 100% when he wrestled Purdue, but just to see him have to dig down and get it when he didn't feel great, you know, solidified a lot of our beliefs about Antrell and how special he is. But, you know, Indiana coming off Iowa, it was good to see our guys respond. But we you know, Coach Manning let him know, and he's obviously been at this for a long time, and he's seen, you know, the little hangovers, little slumps after, you know, you have a big duel against Iowa, and then you have a little bit of a letdown, you know, and then there's a hungry team that's nipping at your heels, and you find yourself in a dogfight. That didn't happen to us because our guys took care of business. So that was the narrative, but obviously they played it out. So, you know, really proud of their focus, and it was good. And again, he got a chance to score a lot of points. For a guy like Cam McDaniel, who wrestled a tough guy, Gabe Sollers in Indiana. You know, guy has some good wins, and Cam had a really close match with him in Vegas, and now he pours it on him. But that's like, hey, Cam, look where you were in Vegas, and look where you've come, right?
In 4 months.
In 4 months, right? And so like, he got better through his losses, which is not easy to do, right? So it was good, you know, for a lot of reasons. Indiana was really, really positive for us, and it's great. Put a lot of points on the board.
Everyone wants to win big, right?
Yes,
but that's not always the case in wrestling,
Right.
especially in the conference like the Big Ten. So how nice is it to go through some of those tighter matches? Minnesota comes to mind as well. And then to have a couple, you know, blowouts, if you want to call it that, at the end of the year. How nice is it to be in a Big Ten conference where you guys can have those close matches, and you know that you're going to have to take it all the way up to the time limit, if not overtime, but also still, you know, be able to flex your muscles sometimes. And what do those big margins of victory do for a team's confidence?
They do a lot, right? And so again, back to, you know, it's not who we wrestle, but it's how we wrestle. You know, we expect you to put a lot of points on the board when you have the opportunity to. And that's not always the case. You know, there's some teams, and there's been, you know, even people that I've coached that struggled this, they play it, you know, a little close. You know, it doesn't matter who they wrestle. It's a takedown match, you know, whether it's the top 5 guy in the country or the 25th guy in the country. So it's good. And just from a development aspect, it's nice to get some good reps off on, you know, maybe you're working on a different setup, a different entry into your shot, and you actually, oh, there it is. I got it. Right. And so now, you know, it helps to not have to do it against the returning national champ, right? You know, get a rep on some other guys. But it's a stair stepping. Confidence is like this, you know, it's not always like from here to here, right? Like you gotta chip away at it, right?
Sure.
And those matches are very important for the confidence, just your overall confidence, but also just like positional confidence. Am I getting better at riding legs? Am I getting better at getting out of legs? Or just all these things that we work on, every day. Those matches are important for that aspect of our development.
In those matches where, your tone setter set the tone, you're out to a big lead, and then your guys at the later end of the lineup, not the bottom of the lineup, just later on in the night, they see that you have a big lead, match isn't really in doubt. Is there any challenge to keeping those guys engaged, or how did you see your guys handle those big leads, even for the guys, later in the lineup?
That's the beauty of wrestling, is like, it's still their individual match, right? Like
Sure.
they're almost chomping at the bit so they can do it as well, right?
Nice.
So, it may be like, in a football game, it may be, people may lose a little bit of, I don't know what you want to call it, like, pizzazz, or try to get after it late when you're winning big. But
the Eagles might give up 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Exactly. For us, for our guys, they're like, I want to do it. Like, I also want to do that.
Quit scoring, my turn. Say something for me.
Exactly. So, and that's part of that's one of the key things about confidence building too, is like seeing someone else do it. Right. And that's your peer. That's someone that you see every day. If they can do it, why can't you? So you get the ball rolling, on a motivation perspective, on the motivation side for that too. So that's great. But those guys, they can't wait to get on. They're right. Hey, stop scoring points. It's my turn to do it.
That's awesome. We're chatting with Nebraska Wrestling assistant coach Bryan Snyder here on Takedown Tuesday, brought to you by Stevens & Smith Construction. Got a question here on our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line. We'll go to break, lead off the second segment of the show with that. Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through March 4th is $1 off crisscross pretzels, buy one, get one free on hot dogs, and $2 off on Piedmontese brats. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, and at 168th and Maple Streets in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com. Salt Mine City is not only Lincoln's newest brewery, but they're also now serving food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their peanut butter and jelly burger with bacon and cheddar cheese, or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. Don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 11 a.m. every day but Mondays at 8th and R.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? Do you need a lawyer you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion? The attorneys at Liberty Law understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Contact us for a free consultation by calling 877-42-LIBERTY. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
Water heater gone? Call Bryant. The price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. And in most cases, same-day replacement. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Back to Takedown Tuesday with Nebraska Wrestling head coach Mark Manning. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rolling right along on Takedown Tuesdays. Off Dorman, joined by Nebraska Wrestling assistant coach Bryan Snyder. This is Takedown Tuesday, brought to you by the great people at Stevens & Smith Construction. They're an employee-owned company with nearly 250 employees and over 2,000 years of service combined. They lead the industry as a full-service concrete company specializing in residential and commercial foundations and flat work. They've got locations in Lincoln, Omaha, and Kansas City. You can check them out at stevensandsmith.com. We're headed to our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line at 402-464-5685. If you've got any questions for Coach, fire away there or on the stream. One of the texters, Coach, asks, what's your opinion on the trend of wrestlers wrestling fewer matches?
I don't love it. I mean, my sophomore year, I wrestled 46 matches.
Woo!
Yeah.
In 4 months?
Yeah. For about 4.5 months. I think you look a little bit at the incentive. They don't really get penalized for not wrestling, So when you think about all the criteria that goes into the seeding matrix at the NCAA tournament, so it almost doesn't.
Well, what are some of those criteria for maybe people who don't know?
So it's winning percentage, it's head to head. A big gripe right now is conference finish, right? But all conferences are not created equal, but they are in the seeding, right? So the Ivy League, the Ivy League just broke away from the EIWA.
Okay.
Right? So already, those together were a good conference, right? But the Ivy broke away. You get seeding criteria. You get 15 more points as the Ivy League champ than the Big Ten runner-up. Now,
oh boy,
I will promise you that those things are not the same, right? So that's another one. Conference finish. It's head to head. Winning percentage, and then it's quality wins. Like how many people, you get so many quality wins if you beat a top 5 guy. You get so many if you beat a 6 to 10 guy at the time. But when it shakes out, it seems like it doesn't really hurt you, right? And so you get, I guess the one thing is you want to wrestle because you want to be tested because you're going to be in some heaters, in the Big Ten in the NCAA tournament. But when it comes in seeding, it doesn't really hurt, especially if you're a team like Penn State that already has a lot of guys ranked number 1 or number 2. You don't need to climb the ranks, right? Because another piece of the seeding is your coach's rank, right?
Gotcha.
So there's I don't know. We gripe about it a little bit. I think it's I think 46 matches is too much. I also think that 15 is too few. Right?
Fair enough.
Especially if you want to grow the sport, and I think. We have a really exciting product. I think the more we can put that on display, the better. Manning's been pushing for more and more matches always. Manning is always the one that wants to wrestle everybody in the Big Ten. And he wants to wrestle Oklahoma State. And he wants to wrestle Cornell. And I'm usually the one saying, well, we don't need to do all that, right? It's not going to be good for us. But,
right.
He's the ultra competitor.
Which you love about the guy.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's interesting, too, number one, taking coaches' rankings into account, because who knows how much wrestling all those coaches get to watch. They're probably more focused on their own teams than that. And that's been a gripe for, football, the AP poll and all that. So I'm glad to hear it's, not glad to hear, but it's not just a one sport sort of problem. But again, it's about the incentive structure, right? Like those top guys, why are they not incentivized to keep wrestling? Put their belt, their title on the line, right? You're always going to want to wrestle up when you're on the bottom, but there should be some sort of incentive for those top guys to take on challenges for their own good and for the good of the sport.
I agree. And just right now, the incentive's not there. So, if you're a returning national finalist and you get dinged up a little bit and you don't wrestle in the Cliff Keen tournament in Vegas, you don't take a loss, and you may go through an otherwise relatively easy schedule and you're 17-0, you're going to be top 2-3 at the NCAAs. Seeds don't matter, but they matter, right? If you're the 2 seed and you're wrestling a quarterfinal against 7, it's a lot different than if it's the other way around, right? our message is, it's like, hey, we put this schedule in place because we want you guys to be ready. We want you guys to be ready and tested for a really tough tournament. But I think it'd be better for the sport if people wrestled more.
Better for the individuals as well,
yes,
if you're going to be tested. And I'm sure as a coach, there's a fine line too, because you want your guys tested. But like you said, I mean, you're not signing up to go to Oklahoma State and Cornell on top of your already grueling schedule, because like you've alluded to, it's all about rounding into form now.
Yep.
When you go into the NCAA tournament, I mean, the Big Ten tournament and then the NCAA tournament, where those should be your two toughest, matchups of the year. What is your coaching staff's philosophy on balancing, testing your guys with the best of the best as much as you can versus making sure they're fresh for now? How do you go about that?
Our training has been great. So, we always have a weekend off in between the end of our season and Big Tens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if your team's healthy, right, and you just have wrestled for 4 months, right, you guys are in great shape.
Mm-hmm.
Barring any, guys that maybe had to take a month or a couple weeks off for an injury, like your team's in great shape. At that point, it's just rest, tiny push, and then, you're ready to go. So we give our guys a lot of rest. Practices become a lot shorter. And so even when we do spike their intensity, we're in and out in an hour.
Oh,
right?
nice.
Yeah. So, and so it gives, because really what we want at this point, we want our guys to be fresh. We want our guys to be hungry. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And, they are, so the other end of that is on them. Like, they're young, they recover well, but hey, your nutrition's got to be great. Your sleep's got to be great. All the stuff we've learned, recently about how important sleep and nutrition is. So we really push that to our guys, so they're ready for a push, right? Because we want them to be fresh, because we know in Evanston it's going to be a dogfight, and then 10 days later we're going to do it all again in Philly.
That you will. We'll get back into some more maybe specific names, but let's just take the regular season as a whole here, Coach. I mean, from November against Utah Valley, you're on the cusp of Big Tens. Who are some of the wrestlers that have stood out to you with what they've accomplished or how they've grown? Or let's start with accomplished, I guess, the guys that you're proud of for what they got done on the mat from November to where you are today.
I think everyone's done really well, to be honest with you. Brock Hardy's wrestling the best he's ever wrestled right now, which is great because Brock can do things that other guys can't. So the variables that Brock needs to control are completely within his control. That's great. Obviously, Ridge has had a great year again. Antrell is Mr. Dependable. He's just, and the public only sees him on match day, but we see him every day, and he's the same every day. Smile on his face, super composed, one of the hardest workers in the room. And so just to see his trajectory, it's not surprising. He's had some, he's had a loss or two that really stung for him, right? He's lost twice, I think. He's lost twice. He doesn't like it. He doesn't handle, losses well. He gets back to work. He's done great. And then, we feel that our team is all trending in the right direction. So Lenny's wrestling better now than he was in the beginning of the year.
Nice.
Silas is wrestling better now than he was in the beginning of the year. Cam is, Harley is.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got a guy like Minto who gets a shot and just and runs with it. And so, really proud of Minto and keeping his focus, keeping his commitment to be the guy when he wasn't the guy. It's not always easy to do. Again, not in the spotlight. You're coming to practice every day. So they're doing really good. Van D's wrestling his best right now. Van D didn't start off great. He had a couple, head scratchers, had some other stuff going on. But he's a guy at any given moment can beat any guy in the country. Right. And so now it's like, we need to put 3 and 4 of those together. We're good, man. We're, in terms of the team and where they're at, we feel very good about the way we're going to wrestle. Healthy and hungry is where we want to be.
Obviously, you're searching for consistency. That's what's going to get you through the 3 or 4 matches at a time. Where are some spots in your lineup where you like to have that dependability? You've Mr. Consistency. You mentioned Antrell, right? You know what you're going to get from him every day. Versus, is there a spot in your lineup that maybe sometimes you're looking for more an X factor than a glue guy like Van D, where you mentioned the head scratchers, but any given night he can really turn up and go get someone.
Yeah, so it's kind of figuring out like, hey, where did we go wrong on the head scratchers, and when you lit it up against Penn State, when there's these matches where you've given some guys the worst losses of their career, like that's what we need to tap into, right? So again, that's that's part of our job, right? Is to try to, hey, where were you at with this? A lot of that comes back to you asking before, is how much of it is mental, how much is it physical? I think for him, it's more of it's an emotional state, like being ready to fight. Right. And then, and being able to do it for 7 minutes. And if it goes overtime, 8, 9, maybe 11 minutes. But yeah.
Is that just a product of him being a little bit of a younger guy, do you think?
I don't know. I don't know if there's it's tough. It's tough to figure out. He just had, well, one of his losses was against the Campbell match. That's when we were wrestling on ice, basically.
Right.
So
Well,
and then later that day we went to North Carolina and he gets what we thought was the winning takedown, and he gets a locked hands, and then they go out of bounds, and all he has to do is ride him for 7 seconds. The guy gets an escape, and then he gets taken down in overtime. So like everything that could have happened wrong happened. Right. Yeah. And then, he had some really good wins. He beat Ragusin at Vegas. And so, I think with him too, it all comes back to consistency, right? Like having that consistent, what are you doing 24 hours out? Nutrition, weight, focus on the match, like ability to wrestle through a little bit of fatigue. And so that has been a very big focal point for me and Jake, like just working through him on those things, just the consistency. Because if he takes care of what he needs to take care of, like he's going to be an X factor more than he's not.
How much of that message has to come from you, and who are maybe some of the guys on your team that you've maybe sent his direction to help him figure that out, to hear it from a teammate of his?
Most of it comes from, we have great guys that we can point to. Hey, this guy does it right all the time. And Jake is great. Like he's super coachable, listens, he's awesome. But it's just, we also have some guys in the room, some post grads, like guys like Liam Cronin, who did everything right. And, so it's like, getting Jake to pick his brain, or just having Liam and our other guys reinforce the message. And then, just getting him to dial in all the time. Sometimes it's tough to stay consistent and focused all the time. And so just getting him to dial in, but competitors dial in for the postseason. So we're excited.
You mentioned Brock Hardy. He's been a fan favorite here on Takedown Tuesday. You said he's wrestling the best he has this year right now. How have you seen Brock grow throughout the season? What makes him so good right now?
He's just trying to figure out how good he is. I tell him all the time. He's our leader. He's one of the best leaders I've ever been around. He does everything right.
The mature dude.
Mature. He holds others accountable. So obviously leaders lead by example, but they also hold others accountable. And you do it in a way that's not demeaning. You do it in a way not to put people down, but to lift them up. And that's not always an easy thing to do for, guys that are, 22 and 23 years old. But Brock has it. He's got it. But he's also just realizing like where he needs to get to, like the positions that he's so elite at, just keep getting back to him. He can do things that other people can't do. Right. And I've spent a ton of minutes wrestling Brock and, fighting with Brock, and, it just, he's really dang good, man. He's really dang good. And so, if he's dialed in, which he will be, and he's healthy, he's, obviously there's no givens, but to me, that's the best guy in the weight class. I tell him it all the time. But he's just getting, it's just what great people do. They get in the positions they're great at, and they don't chase bad positions. They take care of the things they can control. And then, when it's time to compete, you go let it fly.
What's the emotion for you as a coach when you get a guy like Brock Hardy? You see that switch flip, you see the hard work come to fruition, you see it start to make sense mentally. How does that make you feel?
Excited for Brock. Most coaches coach because they want to see people achieve their dreams. Like, it's nothing for me. Like, all the moments that people are asking me, what are my best moments as a coach and competitor? They're all coaching moments, right? So to see Brock figure it out, to see Brock start to like hit his stride when Big Tens and NCAAs are upon us, like, it's very exciting for anyone on the staff to see that.
That's awesome. We're talking with Bryan Snyder, assistant wrestling coach for Nebraska Wrestling. We'll take our final break of the show, wrap up with a little bit of a preview of the Big Ten tournament in Evanston at Welsh Ryan Arena. We'll do that to close out the show in just a moment. Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Attention all wing fans! Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 89-cent boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.29 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today at 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call today at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
MWA Pro Wrestling returns to Lincoln Friday night, March 7th at the First Avenue Social Hall. And in Beatrice at the Beatrice Auditorium on Saturday night, March 8th at 7 p.m. Don't miss two huge shows. Visit Facebook.com/MWA Pro Wrestling for more information. Tickets are on sale for both events. Friday night, March 7th, 7:30 p.m. First Avenue Social Hall in Lincoln. Saturday night, March 8th at the Beatrice Auditorium, 7 p.m. Brought to you by 10 Pins Fun Center, Felipe Electric, and Stone Hollow Brewing Company.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197. Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through March 4th is $1 off crisscross pretzels, buy one, get one free on hot dogs, and $2 off on Piedmontese brats. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, and at 168th and Maple Streets in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Back to Takedown Tuesday with Nebraska Wrestling head coach Mark Manning. Powered by the Teammates Mentoring Program on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
One more segment with Nebraska Wrestling assistant coach Bryan Snyder. I'm Austin Norman. Big thanks to Stevens & Smith Construction for their sponsorship of the show. They've got 250 employees with over 2,000 years of service combined. They're leading the industry as a full-service concrete company specializing in residential and commercial foundations and flatworks. You can check them out at Stevens, STEPHENS, and Smith.com. All right, Coach, you guys getting ready to hit the road for Evanston. You like that arena? Is it a good one?
It is. It's recently renovated. It's smaller than, like a Carver or a Pinnacle Bank where Big Tens have been in the past, but it's going to be intimate. It's going to be loud.
Do you like the Big Ten moving the conference tournament around school to school? Would you like it to be in one host city every year?
I kind of like it. I like moving it around. I guess I'd be open to, if it was a neutral spot. I guess I hadn't really thought about that, but we like it. It's nice to just bounce around a little bit, get to see different fan bases. We're resilient, so we can pretty much handle any, warm-up situation or whatever.
Which you were telling me, the setup at Nationals, let people know what that's like, getting ready for that.
Well, off air, we were talking about what wrestlers really look for in a venue, and really it's mat space to warm up. We don't have many. If you like
simple creatures.
Yeah. So, most of our national tournaments are in a place like PBA, right? Where you're going to put 8 mats down on the floor. Mm-hmm. And before the tournament starts, we have 330 people in the tournament on 8 mats trying to warm up. Now, not all of them are there, mm-hmm. but a lot of them are there. And then when the tournament starts, those 8 mats are, they're wrestling matches on them. So usually we have some sort of configuration of half a mat here, a slice of mat here that adds up to maybe a mat and a half or 2 mats in the rest of the whole place. Right. And so, not really adequate, we don't really have adequate warm-up space.
Enjoy the hard concrete on your knees before you wrestle. That's gotta be fun.
Yeah. So, we try to, that's the one thing when Nationals got canceled, they were going to be in Minnesota in the football stadium. So we were excited. There's going to be, we have a ton of space for
the Viking stadium.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
And then it's back on the docket. It's going to be there in a few years, but, we were excited to have, most people were excited for other reasons. We're like, yeah, we're going to have mat space,
Look forward to that. Stay the course till you get there.
Yeah.
As a coach or maybe even as a wrestler, what's your favorite venue in the Big Ten outside of course, the Devaney Center?
I like going to Carver. I really do.
Your players said that too.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's actually really quiet when you're winning. I mean, it really is. And it's great. They're a passionate fan base. Obviously, there's a handful of them that are, I don't know how you
doinks.
Yeah. They say stuff, they heckle, 20-year-olds, but I just try to remind our guys that, hey, that guy has never spent an hour in your shoes, right?
Right. I just picture you, Teddy Roosevelt, man in the arena.
Exactly, which is my favorite speech and favorite quote. But it's great. It's because it's a fun environment to be in. If you're a competitor, you love that, mm-hmm. and it prepares you, right? It prepares
mm-hmm.
you. This is everything about wrestling. Like, you want to put your team in adverse situations because you know that no struggle, no growth, right? Mm-hmm. And so, that was Manning's message afterwards. Hey, that's going to be the best they're going to be is in their home arena. We're going to be better, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll get better from it. So Carver's fun. I want to win there though. We were close this year.
You're right there. You're right there on the cusp. But again, you can take the experiences from Carver. Yep. You'll get some shots at Iowa guys. Beat them when it really matters now in the postseason. I know we'll all be rooting for that. As we turn our attention here, your attention obviously has been on Big Tens. It's a big deal, right? It's the national tournament, maybe even on steroids, maybe even a little bit better. You guys have seen it. You've been prepared for the grind. And we've heard from some of your wrestlers too about that headspace that they have to be in, of being excited, getting the adrenaline going, but not too much or not too soon so they don't run out of gas. Who are the guys on the team as you look at Big Tens that you might have to tell, hey, it's just the same match. You're just wrestling. It's just you. Don't make it bigger than it is.
I think that'll be the message for everybody, right? And so, one match at a time. Every match is important, right? We've all had experiences where guys have gotten upset, not just our team, but just guys that weren't ready, that were overlooking them. But that's it, and that's part of the challenge, is like staying present for each and every match, not looking forward to the next one, right? Because that's when that's when you have somebody that's nipping at your heels and they put you're in a dogfight and you might lose a match because you're looking forward. So that's our message, and it's very disciplined, right? Sometimes it's tough to not look forward as to what you have, right? And so we're doing individual workouts and we're prepping for potential matchups, but the idea is, hey, listen, we got to get there, right? But back to, it doesn't matter who we wrestle, it's how we wrestle. We want it to be about us, and that's the type of confidence and belief we have in our guys, that if they execute their game plan and they wrestle their match, we're gonna have some really big wins in the next few weeks.
The other flip side of that is I would put myself more in this camp back in my less than illustrious high school playing career, was the guy that, tried to be level, tried to stay calm, treat every match the same. I'm sure you have some of those guys on your team. Are those guys that, maybe get to flex your coach muscle and give a little rah inspirational speech to, or do you trust those level guys just handle their business the way they have all season?
Yeah, at this point in the season, there's nothing new, right? So we know who needs what before their matches, right? So some guys need a little talking to, some guys need a little bit of joking, need a little crack a joke. Other guys like to be fired up. And so that's part of the whole season of getting to know your team, of who needs what, right? And so now you do the same thing in the postseason, right? So you don't change it, right? Our guys are very committed to their craft. So they know the stakes. They know the stakes. So there's not a lot of like really reminding them how important the stakes are. They came here to wrestle in these big moments, and to prepare for weekends like this.
Who's the jokes coach?
Depending on, I think we all have jokes, me and Coach Green, we bust guys pretty good. Coach, Manning can get on one too. Manning has a lot of sayings that are they're really good.
What's the best Manningism?
I mean, there's so many, there's so many, he always talks, he says rat on a Cheeto, and,
rat on a Cheeto.
Yeah, you need to get on him like a rat on a Cheeto, right? Like, I would imagine that would be pretty ferociously, right? He's got a million of them. There used to be a shirt that used to be like the top 10 Manningisms. So I don't know where it's at.
We need to bring that back.
We need to bring it back. Sell it at camps. That'd be great. So it's just we are very, as a coaching staff, we're very light when we need to be light, right? In between rounds, we spend a lot of time with our guys, right? So after weigh-ins, what are you going to do? Well, the guys are going to eat, and then we're going to joke around and, tell stories. And so we're part of that, right? Unless we have a coach's locker room, but sometimes we don't. We just, we hang out with the guys in the hallway. So we keep it light. And then the great thing about our team is they know, like, as we do, when it's time to flip the switch, right? It does us no good for 90 minutes before the match to be ready to go, headgear on, singlet on, ready to go. Keep it light, and that's part of the challenge for the postseason, is like to be up when you need to be up, and then get your cool down, take care of your tournament, because you have some of those guys that are so invested in the success of their teammates that they're in every match emotionally. That's draining, right? And so that's part of the challenge of discipline that we put on our guys. Like, hey, listen, I know you love your team, I know you want the best for them, but hey, you got to take care of you, right? And so some of that is like, I remember Robert Kokish, who wrestled here and then coached for us. I remember having to like literally pull him away from the mat and be like, hey, you're up in 2 matches. Like, go take care.
Chill.
He wanted it so bad for his team.
That's his warm up. He's jumping up and down with his guys.
Yeah, there you go. So that's also part of the narrative going into the postseason is, champions take care. They manage their energy and their emotions really well throughout the course of the day.
You guys are headed out on Thursday. You told me, what's tomorrow look like? What's the plan for tomorrow before you hit the road for Evanston?
So tomorrow we'll be together for team practice, and then Thursday we'll do individuals with individual coaches, and then go to the airport, and then we'll get a light roll around on Friday afternoon when we get to Northwestern, and that's it. Days in the barn.
Lights come on.
Lights come on.
Well, Coach, safe travels. You are more than welcome to wait out this blizzard here at the Ticket Studios if you need. Safe travels out to Evanston. We are looking forward to watching your guys compete. Congratulations on a great regular season already. Best of luck to you, the staff, and your guys in Evanston and beyond.
Thanks, Austin.
It's Coach Bryan Snyder with us here on Takedown Tuesday, brought to you by Stevens and Smith Construction. Huskers in action Thursday. Sorry, get my day straight. Friday and Saturday out at Welsh Ryan Arena. For the Big Ten Wrestling Tournament. For Coach, I'm Austin. Don't go anywhere. Got Takedown Tuesday wrapping up. Teammates timeout coming your way momentarily. Load up on meat and more this winter at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's special through March 4th is $1 off crisscross pretzels, buy one, get one free on hot dogs, and $2 off on Piedmontese brats. The Mercado has locations at 80